For those that have listened to your other episodes, 9/11 was a catalyst for you, and you just said, "What can I do?" And you found people, which is amazing to me. Actually, that's part of a story we haven't talked about, like how you even got to the
That's episode 4.
people that you spoke to. I mean, high level, like, what can I do? Did you find other people like you?
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop.
Welcome back, everybody, because you're listening to Alan and Ian. They're talking. And I promised you guys we're going to do this again. This is a serious, small episode. So this is going to be a 15-minute, man. We're just going to knock it out because Ian was going so awesome on our last podcast. If you didn't hear him, we've had Ian Hay in here twice. He is not only a home security guru. He is a gold nugget master. He knows Sir Winston Churchill. But we got to get into this because, guys, you got to go back and check this guy out. He dropping some serious dimes on everything we're talking about. And so I said, Alan, we got to have him back. So we made Ian drive all the way back to my basement just so we could do this again. And you know what we did? We made him bring more wine, more liquor, more scotch. So what are we doing, Alan?
Oh, we're drinking scotch.
Let's do it.
Yeah, cheers.
Whiskey without
Scotch
the
whiskey.
E. Yeah,
Let's do it.
that, boys.
Whiskey with the E.
Here we go.
All right, everybody.
No,
Hey,
without the E.
look, a little
Without
bit different
the E.
episode, right? You guys are in your truck. This is a 15-minute, man. Follow in. Here we go. We got to rock. So, Ian.
So three things. First of all, what we have here is a Lickety Split Preparedness Kit.
All right. What's a Lickety Split Preparedness
I thought
Kit?
you brought that because you're going to spend the night with Chris.
Well, as the way this is going, I think we should go for the 15-part podcast. However, I hope I'm your first guy to ever do 3 because I think that's cool. I like to be inaugural, as many of my
it's
friends
like an
know.
SNL 5-timers club.
So,
Right?
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And so basically, for those of you that are watching on the screen, grab 2 bags, a quart bag and a gallon bag, and then just walk through your house. What are the things you touch every day? Toothbrush, deodorant. I've got some Listerine, lip balm,
What do you touch
toothpaste,
every day,
a
Chris?
flashlight.
My liquor cabinet.
And so right there, and I have some rubbing alcohol, right? So
All right.
right there, in about 3.5 minutes, I have a Lickety Split Preparedness Kit. If I had some water and a snack, we're good to go.
So you kind of make me nervous, Ian. Do we need to have one? Because
Well, you see my face? I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
shocked you don't have this
Yeah.
together.
Dude, Lickety Split Preparedness Kit.
Yeah.
where are we going and why?
Grab
Hey,
an old duffel
bro.
bag.
Hey, I watched those Bourne movies, and I'm telling you, man, this motherfucker.
Just imagine, like all your guys who took those Enterprise cars,
Yeah.
they probably had this. If they were military, they probably had this at their
So if you're just
fingertips.
catching up on this episode, as you guys all know, we did this one over 9/11, and we talked about this one, but we had to have Ian back. But we did not get a chance to talk about his Lickety Split Preparedness Kit. So go check this out. We'll put this thing in the show notes. But we got to have one of those.
Is that a cigar cutter in there?
I actually carry one with me on my keychain.
Okay.
If you're not a follower of Sir Winston Churchill,
Everybody
Oh, if I'd
has
known, I would
their
have brought cigars
necessities.
tonight, gents.
right?
Jeez. Next time,
There's a reason.
next
they call
time
it
you're
church guy.
coming, I'm just going to make sure I'm going to say, hey, to my wife, maybe you should go visit your folks or something like that. 'Cause-
Episode 5.
That's right.
episode. You know what? He might be the SNL guy. I don't know. All right, that's another gold nugget, everybody. So, what is this thing about this Lickety Split Preparedness Kit? It's about being ready, right?
Yep.
And so we're not talking about biz. We're just talking about life.
Well, this is biz. I mean, this is, federal government has the ready.gov. Make sure you go there, have a plan, at least have a communications plan. Know how, if 9/11 happens, know how you are going to communicate and make sure it's via text. And you can do a chat string. Many people already have family chat strings, but start there. And then okay, this is going to be our rally point if all communications go down. We are going to meet at Chris's basement. with
That's a
cigars,
good spot.
whiskey, and right. So this is where we're coming.
I'm not gonna lie, we're not gonna have any guns, but man, we're gonna have a lot of liquor.
Well, we can find plenty of people with guns if we need to.
I have friends with guns,
And
but I'm
so
not one of them.
and so really all I'm
Alan, don't give
asking
me that look.
all I'm asking people to do is to grab an old backpack.
I might be able to help you out. But
Thank you.
okay.
All right. Go grab an old backpack. I actually have an Eagle Creek bag. It's about the size of a fist. It opens up into a backpack. You can just throw stuff in there. It's fabulous. We'll make sure all this stuff gets to the website if you're interested, or I'll make sure I have it on mine. But that is how you prepare as a small business owner. Make sure you can take care of yourself. Then you make sure you can take care of your family, include your pets. Make sure you get some pet food. Make sure you get some stuff to keep your animals happy because most people won't evacuate without their animals. Make sure you're ready for that. Play through, you could actually do it like a fire drill. So what I do is I know that the tornado alarm is going to, the warning alarm is going to go off at noon on whatever the first of the month, or I can't remember what that is. That is when I check my kit. And if I can't get to it in 17 seconds, then I'm not ready for a tornado.
17.
Mark that.
That's a pretty
Alan.
specific number.
This is a 15-minute episode, 17 seconds. Get your kit. Go.
Boom.
Huh? Hey, don't quit listening. Hey, keep listening. All right, we're back.
I got to ask you, Ian. So for those
17. Go ahead.
for those that have listened to your other episodes, 9/11 was a catalyst for you, and you just said, what can I do? And you found people, which is amazing to me. Actually, that's part of a story we haven't talked about, like how you even got to
That's
the
episode 4.
people that you spoke to. I mean, high level, like what can I do? Did you find other people like you?
Oh yeah.
And I love that because like whenever I read one of those novels where it's like we've got some black ops guy that goes and kills all the terrorists and the bad guys and stuff, and like I hope those are people that actually exist. And then to meet somebody like you who just threw themselves into the problem, and they talk about I think it's the Jack Reacher book, so it's fake because it's a book, but there's you put somebody under stress and most people run away, and there's the occasional person that runs towards the problem, and those are the people that we want. You're somebody who ran towards the problem.
Yeah,
this
and
could be in a business thing too.
I was not a first responder. I am not a first responder, but I support first responders. Right.
Right. You weren't a first responder when this happened, but you ran towards the problem. I mean, that is a huge character thing to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not only
My parents heard that. So
yeah, and you're you know what they did, by the way, because we were in the galactic, and I think we actually move.
Do you think God listens to our podcast? Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, I think
It just plays it on the
lifetime member in the adventure team. Come on.
Come on. You know what?
You want to see
He just freaks out by swear words.
I was gonna say, you want to see a go kid? Imagine reaching into it and having exactly what you need, just as you need it. That
right? God's listening to our podcast and he's laughing and he's like, "Oh, Chris, do you really have to swear so much?"
I do.
You know what?
But you know what?
Yeah.
But it wasn't in the Bible. It's good. It wasn't one of the bad words.
Oh, thou shalt not swear.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Those words were not there. Yeah, I'm not, and I have not. Okay, maybe I've hit a couple of George Carlin ones, but the 7 words you can't say on TV. All right, back to Ian though. Can we? All right, because we got 15 minutes, man. We're gonna rock and roll. This is a fast one.
So thank you for that. And yes, there are others out there, and you can be one of them as a member of the adventure team.
No, that wasn't where I was going, Ian.
Okay,
I want to know about the other people that. Yeah.
So the way I describe it is about 7 to 10 people. We created a category. There was no private sector outreach. I mean, if I could, on episode 4, I will share about what it was like to be a complete outsider standing in front of military, law enforcement, people who did not trust my motives, questioned my motives. And thankfully, I had enough people who were for me rather than against me. And those that listened really benefited. Like we had some stuff during the G8 summit that didn't happen because I helped put people together. I don't need a medal. I don't need thanks. But I can tell you, we didn't have headlines during the G8 summit.
Wait a minute.
Because of some of the coordination
Alan,
that we did.
Are we unpacking some shit right now?
Yeah, Ian and the G8 summit. Okay. Back up. Talk about that. Can you?
So what I can say about the G8 summit is that is what I was really invited to help with. And you got to remember at the time, 15 minutes. You got to remember at the time, right?
Yeah.
80% of the I think it was 85% of the critical infrastructure is in the private sector, and 15% are designed to protect it. And they're not really talking to each other. Now, just like you were a critical sector, transportation,
Right.
but you weren't in an operations center at until that point. The only people in the only people in the operations center were telephony, right? So that interoperability piece, those folks were in there. Power was in there, and you had Department of Transportation. And sometimes you had tech, right? Because obviously some of this is really involved heavy tech, and you've got to have people in your operations center who speak that language and can make sure all the technology allows us to coordinate. That's not what we were talking about. Now we're talking about protecting facilities. Everything is an open target, right? You've got mass gatherings that are now a target. That's right, like CNN Center. I mean, as Chris just described, like you don't want to be anywhere near the
No.
CDC. Lord
Water
forbid we,
supply.
right?
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And so those two weren't used to talking to each other. And so, me and a handful of other people helped create that category of private sector outreach. And now there are probably hundreds and thousands of people employed in that sector. One of the things that happened is the government got very heavy into our business, pushed a number of us out. So, I mean, I'm not doing that anymore. There are a handful of people who are doing it.
Hmm.
It's not nearly as robust. I could line up 50 people that would tell you, oh, we were better coordinated. We did this. And again, not to be disparaging of the federal government. This is a natural thing that occurs over time, right? After 20 years, you think about things differently. And the key is to not prepare for the last attack, right? That was the problem, is that we were focused on, okay, well, how are we going to prevent that from happening? And then it was at least a couple of years before I started hearing, well, what is this new Madrid seismic zone? What is the Yosemite caldera? What about a massive tsunami, right? And then we started to get focused on all hazards and the whole community of how do you prepare a whole community? And I'm literally fast forward to 20 years
Alan,
in that one sentence.
before he said the word tsunami, what were the other two things? I had no idea what he said. I was like, what are those things?
Yosemite
The caldera.
Yeah, what
and
is
the
that?
New Madrid seismic zone.
Oh, dear God. All right. I run a small handyman company here in Atlanta. And so I'm very worried. But no, but he's talking about the stuff that can happen because people say, hey, Chris, how are things going to go next year? I said, you know what? As long as the world
Ian is there, then we're okay.
well, now I'm thinking, as long as the world keeps their shit together and Ian keeps it all together, then I'm doing great.
Yeah.
But if the world loses their shit, I'm in trouble. So that's the thing. We can't do it as small business people, but when you hear about what Ian is doing and with these people, it's amazing that the gravitas you could have and the impact you can have. It's so cool.
Well, that's
But
the key about small businesses is you, or any business, is it's who you network with and who you seek advice from, and be interconnected. The issue with the issue with critical infrastructure is we are all codependent. We call that interoperability, but we're codependent on each other, right? We are intrinsically entwined. You can't run technology without power. You can't sustain life without water, right? You can't run a hospital without water. You got to have it. And so the key is that we know we're all in this together. How do we network? How do we coordinate? How do we maximize the synergy between our organizations? And then, I think a second part as a small business owner is really look for look for a niche that somebody isn't really doing something, or maybe somebody tried, or look for something that you're passionate about and explore.
I like
And
that.
and on the edge, you're going to find something.
Finally, all right. But before we let you go, because we're on the fast track, 15 minutes, you brought something that was really cool and you keep tapping it. And we don't even know what it is. And all you keep saying is the Constitution.
It's the red bag.
It's the red bag.
Red bag.
Gotta
And
get
you
the
know
red
what?
bag.
All I'm doing is National Treasure and I'm doing Nicolas Cage. And I'm like,
100%.
dude, I want to know. What is in there?
All right. So we'll probably get into this late episode 4 and 5 more. However, right here at this table, I can reconstitute the United States government.
Oh my God.
And this came from I
His hand is going
I
in the
don't
bag.
I don't have permission, so I can't tell you who I had the conversation with. However, it was a chief of staff of a very important member of Congress, and they were assigned to a committee to talk about the continuity of government, or COG, and what would happen in a sort of a post 9/11 scenario or worse. So one of the things he said to me is, look, the legislative
Put your
branch.
hand back in
Hold
the
on,
bag.
I'm coming back to the legislative branch, right? We have two branches inside the legislative branch. One is the House and one is the Senate. Those have to be together because those members have to conference together. So they physically have to be located together. However, the judiciary and the presidency can be somewhere else. And right now, right, we're talking 0 day here. We're talking Skynet. We're
Right.
talking this is really bad. We have no idea what's going on, and
Oh my
blah blah
God.
blah. So you always carry. If I am taken down, you go into my go kit
Hand is back in
and
the
you
bag.
grab the
hand is back in
red
the
bag. And
Alan,
inside the red bag
please,
Oh,
are
Alan.
4 copies of the Constitution.
Alan, what's he showing us?
Who feels like being the judiciary today?
Alan,
okay.
Alan is gonna be the judiciary.
I gotta get my glasses on.
Chris, you want Congress or the? Let's give him the presidency.
of course.
We know we
Don't be the
know.
grand
We know
poobah,
he wants-
motherfucker. Come
have-
on.
Which
I-
thankfully leaves me as the legislative branch, which is actually Article 1, and people forget that, and that's actually in my congressional testimony, which I submitted on the 5th anniversary of 9/11, and then we did our oral arguments on the 13th. So I'll be drinking out of a different mug on the 13th, which is my U.S. House of Representatives mug. But the key here is we have 2 copies of the Constitution, one for the House, one for the Senate, so that they can conference together. And this is what's supposed to be running the country, is Article 1.
That's correct. I love that he is talking about this.
What is in your hand?
I have the Constitution of the United States of America, but I'm the president.
Wait,
Because-
wait.
But it,
So I
but
I
it,
do
starts,
executive
it
branch.
starts with the people. That's the part. Right?
100%.
Back to our founders and our framers.
Yep.
They did a great job. It starts with the people. The one guy, the one lady, the one person, whatever, doesn't matter as much as, well, it's all three, but the judiciary has got the one, but the biggest and the most important is the masses.
Mhm.
And that's what I think a lot of people forget. And I think that part makes us the greatest country in the world.
It's the best design that I've seen. Or I think, Sir Winston Churchill, since Chris asked for this, democracy is the worst form of government,
Wow.
except from all others that have been tried from time to time.
Exactly right. Ian Hay has done it again. This is the 15 minutes of fun. Alan's over there trying to figure out how he could be.
No,
Well,
I'm reading the Declaration
He's
of
being
Independence.
judicious because he is going to interpret the laws of the United States.
Yeah, see,
he shouldn't be
like
reading
me,
it.
Chris, because you're going off all half-cocked. And
I am.
He's being very presidential.
I am.
You are being very
100%
judicial, and I'm going to be legislative and about to get into this in about 2 minutes.
Love this. Ian Hay, you've done it again.
When
You
in the
came back
course
here. You
of
dropped some
Human
serious.
events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands.
All right.
I-
And
look
Alan
at-
has taken.
on your eyes at the Declaration of Independence.
I'm not. But Alan, we have an obligation to the adventure team, and we got to make it happen.
You
All
said
right, everybody.
15 minutes. How many are we? How many?
We're at 15. We got to go, everybody.
So before we go, if I may, if we
Please.
could just have a quick moment of silence
I like it.
for those we lost on 9/11.
Move it.
Amen.
Thank you all for listening. We don't want to leave it on a somber note, but you got to remember the gravitas of 9/11. If you weren't alive then, or you don't remember it as much, go back and listen, because for a lot of us, that has begun a lot of us, our amalgamation. It really has galvanized us and changed our viewpoints. When you think about what we did before and what we did after, it has changed our lives. It changed the way we think about people. It changed the way we think about looking and interacting with people. It's horrible, but it is. And that's what we do. And now we're always thinking that we're a threat where we never were a threat. And so you're not. And so here you go. You got to go make your own business happen. You got to keep going. You know what? That somber moment means that you guys can make it happen. Go on that walk, drive that truck, get out there, make something happen, and go make somebody happy today. Let's go make it happen. We're out of here. We're going to go.
Cheers, everybody.